Warning, this video contains body horror in the character design. View at your own risk. Hey everyone, Midnight here. Whoa, crazy voice reveal, I know. It's my first time ever trying to make a video like this, so please forgive me if the quality is only so-so. I'll try and figure something out in the future to improve this kind of content. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. So, as you can see, today we're going to be redesigning Alastor from HAZBIN Hotel. Well, okay, I guess redesigning Alastor again, because my first time was... it was okay. I don't have the sketchbook that all my concepts for my first design were in, but I'll try and put a couple of the pictures I have on screen right now. For my first redesign, I didn't have an incredibly clear picture of what I wanted. All I knew was what I didn't like from his old design, which is primarily his gosh-awful hair and antlers, and that I wanted to make him more 1930s themed. While I certainly think I leaned into the deer aspects, I don't think I took enough inspiration from, radios or radio hosts in my first redesign. Right now, he just kind of looks like, oh, it's a weird deer-human hybrid, which I guess, yes, he is kind of, but that's not the only thing he is. He's also, well, the radio demon. And I didn't do a very good job at showing that. Thus, in this new and updated design, I tried to fix up my mistakes as well as just get something I preferred overall. This one had pretty much no concept sketching done beforehand, which was a bit iffy on my part due to the fact that I struggled so badly on certain parts of his anatomy because I was just trying to figure out what did and didn't work while I was doing it. Nevertheless, I think I got something I liked a lot better in the end. It could still use some tweaking, but I'd say it is overall much better than my first attempt. Anywho, enough with the intro, let's get into the redesign. Okay, so to start off, I took an image of normal Alastor's full body and slapped it onto my canvas in order to get his construction lines down. This kind of helps me figure out the pose more properly as well as just his general anatomy. Then I started on some silhouettes to get some proportions that I like down. I ended up deciding to give him full-on deer legs, so it's kind of like a satyr now. A deer satyr. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, my first biggest struggle was getting that dang head shape right. In my style, I kind of border between realistic and more cartoony proportions with the characters I draw, which is such a triangular guy like Alastor, made it a bit difficult to figure out something I liked. This was also because I wanted Alastor to, resemble, a semi-normal man at first, only for the longer you look at him, it's just you slowly realize, oh, there's something kind of off with this guy. So I initially based his head shape off of a bunch of references I found of people of Creole heritage, since Alastor is stated to be Creole. But the very square chin I was drawing him with, initially, didn't really feel like Alastor to me. I ultimately thought back to some criticism I'd received on my first Alastor redesign about him not being pointy enough, and was like, okay, he needs to have a pointed chin. And finally, with that in mind, I found something that I liked and that was easy to draw. I kept the deer ears for my first redesign because, well, I like them. And then I tried to fix up his antler shape a little bit. Antlers are so hard to draw, guys. I had so many references pulled up in my photos, and I had to redraw them so many times. It was such a pain. But in the end, I do think it worked out. I like the general shape, though I'm still a bit iffy on whether I like these thicker ones or if he should have thinner black ones, like antlers. So like I said earlier, I wanted more radio/radio host inspiration in this design. I actually found a bunch of references of radios and hosts from the 1920s for this, and I tried to sprinkle that inspiration throughout his design. All of those concept hairstyles that you saw a second ago, they were all based on references I had pulled up of 1920s radio hosts, with one very professional style, the one you see here, being chosen by some friends of mine. Along with that, his tie, which you'll see in a second, is actually based on the dial of a radio. And you'll also see I gave him a pair of glasses that I based entirely off of a radio host I found. I wasn't initially going to give him any glasses or anything, but I drew them on him because his face just felt naked without him, because, normally Alastor has a monocle, but that wasn't there in the 1930s. And after asking some people, they also thought it looked better, so that's why he has those. I will admit, though, he does kind of look like Medic TF2 with them. That was not on purpose, but it is oddly fitting. Not only that, his staff is also heavily based on an old-style microphone. In a second, you're going to see some doodles appear on the side, one of his spooky, full-powered form, and the other just a little doodle of the guy. I wanted to design that because I was not at all happy with how his like full power form looks in the comics. However, I realized a little too late that, well, he kind of resembled a certain mythological creature that was not at all intentional. I was actually basing him off of, number one, the comic design. Number two, I just really want like that radio dial. I combined that with inspiration from the deer clops from Don't Starve. I don't really know enough about this mythological creature to really say that that's what he's supposed to be, because that wasn't intentional at all. And I think I'm going to go back and like fix up the design to separate it more from that, because I know that people tend to be a little uncomfortable with that being used in fiction and such, especially when it's not portrayed with proper research and such with it. So I'll be definitely going back and changing that in the future. This is just what we have right now, and I just wanted to mention that just as a disclaimer. Anyway, back to the design itself. For his colors, I went with a very warm color scheme for him. Alastor being red makes sense to me as compared to many of the other characters, but I don't like the abundance of that neon pinkish red in his design. So for mine, I went with a more desaturated sort of red. You can see me go through a couple different ones. I actually kind of like one that I did before the one I decided on, where he has like a red shirt. I almost like that a little better, but for right now, this is what we're getting, and I like it as it is. So along with the reds, I also used some creams and off-whites in his design. I made the whites of his eyes yellow so the red of them really pops out. I'm not really that confident with colors, like at all, but I oddly really like how this color scheme came out. It was so much easier to come up with than a lot of other color schemes I've done. Minus the staff. The staff was, I don't know what it was about it, but for some reason it was just not cooperating. I'm still not a huge fan of the staff. My idea for this color scheme that I settled on was, oh, it's made of bone or deer antler or something. That's why it's the same color as his antlers, but I'm just not a huge fan. I'll probably go back and change that. I haven't decided. We'll see. I was debating whether or not his deer feet should be the same color as his skin. I'm still not sure about that, because I'm not sure if he would have fur there or if he should have skin there. Either way, it's a little disgusting to imagine, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you like my second attempt at redesigning Alastor. Hopefully maybe a little more than the original. This design is obviously not a final attempt, especially that monster form, but it's getting to a place I like a little more. Like I mentioned before, this is my first ever time making a video like this, and I'd love to hear some critiques on how I can make it better. Video editing and everything is just not my strong suit yet. Please like and subscribe, maybe comment how you'd redesign Alastor. And yeah, thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.